Hey, look at us. We'll have camera smoothing because we got enough daylight. 6 mile run. We're going to talk about Marine Corps. Not really versus Navy SEALs, but and Navy SEALs. Mental mindset. And also downhill mountain bike racing. No, we're going this way. Actually, we could cross this way. So I was just interviewed yesterday for the Men Talking Mindfulness podcast. And it's a former Navy SEAL commander and a New York City yoga instructor. And you think, how in the world could these guys be together? But it ends up being so cool. Now, my show's not on yet, but for your homework, I want you to go listen to the episode that's up with their guest that's an extreme skier. She was the world's best extreme downhill skier for years. And she talks about embracing the fear. And not suppressing fear, but working with fear. And if you suppress fear, it'll come up later. You haven't really worked with it yet. You haven't conquered it. Also, you don't really conquer it, like you work with it. And so the Marines, well, I went to Marine Military Academy, which is the world's hardest military school. It's run by Marines, as Marines, trying to turn you into a Marine. It is insanely intense. It's the worst parts out of Marine Corps boot camp videos that you'll see online, and it never ends. So it makes you learn to love the fear. And the Marines are a department of the Navy, actually. They're not their own separate branch and of the military. And they're kind of like the Navy's first Special Forces unit. The reason they're called leathernecks is their uniforms. This is back in the pirates and tall sailing ship days. Their uniforms have leather collars around them and a high neck, and you can still see signs of that today on their dark Navy uniforms. They're almost black. It's this high collar. And it's because they would swing or jump from their ship, a U.S. Navy ship, onto the enemy ship. So they're amphibious, or they would row over on boats and climb up or whatever, however they do it. And that's part of it, is however you do it, get it done. Get on the other ship and then commit sword fighting. And the leather collar around your neck helps you not get decapitated by the enemy with a sword to the neck. And I mean, that is freaking extreme, and that's what they train. That's how they train you. And so modern Marines is that mindset plus go take that hill. And kind of generalized, kind of semi-specific missions, right? And whatever happens, just keep going. Don't stop. Adapt, improvise, overcome. The bridge is out on the river, build a new bridge. You're still taking that hill. Like, you do not want to go up against a unit of Marines, because they will find a way to win and never stop. And they will change everything on the fly to do it. And then they're very mission oriented. But then Navy SEALs, I wanted to be a Navy SEAL, and my vision is too terrible to have been one. I was a varsity swim team captain, Marine Corps training, Marine Corps JROTC, leadership, all this stuff. And friends that became Navy SEALs, and it just never happened. It's kind of like a fighter pilot. You want perfect vision, and in the late 80s, early 90s, that's just LASIK's not an option, you know, and maybe not even today. So it just wasn't in the cards for me. But I really loved reading about them and learning about them. My dad was in the Navy, so he had books about the Navy SEALs. And Navy SEALs they take you and train you to be as hardcore as the Marines. I don't see how it's possible to be even more, but possibly even more insane and hardcore and tough. And then you have very, very specific missions and specific gear and equipment to accomplish that mission, right? So to go get Osama bin Laden, or to go free a hostage, or something like that, whatever it takes to do the mission. And they train specifically for that. So it's really badass. And they're amphibious as well as the Marines. And yeah, so there's all that. Okay, so what was cool is during our interview was both branches, like I said, Marine's not really a branch, but let's just say it, are trained. There's a clip online of Jocko Willink, who's a Navy SEAL, former Navy SEAL commander, saying, good. This thing happens, it's tough, that sucks, good. You know, you're trying to take that hill and the engine goes out on your Jeep, good. There's barbed wire in the way, good. There's, of course, all these things are not good, but it's just anything that's hard, it's all in training. Anything that's hard, good. It's like life on hard mode is way more exciting and a challenge and fun. That's the mindset of adaptability. So right before our interview, that sunrise, we realized we had a big glitch. Hey, don't forget. And I wanted to let John know, the Navy SEAL, that I saw it in action. I noticed it. He said, oh, we got to do it like this? And John and Will are in different locations. John just says, all right, I'm changing this, I'm changing that. I mean, you still think, but it's almost like you don't even think. But the thinking is down to milliseconds. And what's the mission? The mission is to interview Brett. So he said, we're changing this, changing this, changing this. And Will, I'm sending you changes and updates. You'll see them in the notes. And Will looks at him for a minute and goes, got it. Like that. And I just want to say, I saw that, I noticed it. And John, that was really impressive. And also, what he would say is, that's just what you do. Like, it was badass. And you won't see that in the episode, but it's really cool. And then to Will's credit, and this is where these things come together, is the mindfulness and the Zen, and he's a top level yoga instructor, being present in the moment. He took the changes, the realization, and then the changes, and was in the moment, on the fly, able to not hold on to his ego that it had to be a certain way, right? And these are changes, by the way, that they realized. It had nothing to do with me. And so they were but if it did have to do with me, I would tell you, you know, I'd own it. Extreme ownership is Jocko Willink's thing. And so they changed, and Will being present in the moment had no hang-ups and was able to adapt. So both of them, top level performers. And I talk about that on that show and all the time, is you do ultra distance stuff, you do hard things, you end up rubbing shoulders with the most amazing people. And this was an example of that. And real quick, I want to talk about embracing fear. This is a mindset of, like, say that you're at the edge of a cliff and you need to jump. Like the downhill skier guest talked about, you don't want to close your eyes and just jump anyway. It's going to end up being a problem. Right? So like advanced level is you turn to fear standing next to you and you say, let's jump and hold hands while we do this, right? And live with the fear and use the fear to jump together. And then I can't speak for the Navy SEALs, but the Marine Corps way would be, hey, fear, hey, we gonna do this? And fear's like, yeah. And then you go, fear, look, a squirrel. And then fear turns its head, and then you freaking kick fear in the middle of the back over the cliff, and then go, yeah, let's go. And jump off afterwards. I mean, that's how intense and insane. Insane's not a good word though, because that's a negative connotation. It is impressive, like how Marines and Special Forces are like trained like that. And anyway, oh yeah, we're working the uphills. There's barbed wire in the way? Good. You've only got 3 bullets left? Good. You ran out of gas? Good. So, the shirt I'm wearing, if I turn it around, Cactus Cup, there we go, is it's got a time trial. It's a 3-day mountain bike stage race in Arizona, and it's crazy hard, and in parts of it, and it's huge. And Emily signed Kai and I up together, and accidentally I got put in the elite pro wave along with Kai. And this thing's got huge drops on the time trial, and they're firing us off every minute or so. And we're down at the start line in the morning. We got other things to do all afternoon before tomorrow's stage. But day 2 is a marathon mountain bike race. Day 3 is enduro. So we got things to do. We got all the gear ready to go. I've pre-rode the course. It is terrifying in spots, and it's also incredible. And it became very obvious that I am in the wrong group. I'm wearing running shoes and flat pedals, and everybody around me is elite, national, top state, national, world class, all the different categories that I should not be in for mountain bike racing. And you can just tell. I'm 50 years old, 51, and 20 pounds overweight and in running shoes. And I talked to the race director and said, hey, let me pause right here. And I said, hey, this is the wrong group. Can I go towards the back? And they go, no, you can't. Everybody's already set by time. And like, they were serious. Like, if somebody didn't show up, that gap stayed. Like, nobody moved up. Like, this is your time to go at exactly this time, period. And I was like, oh man, oh no. And so the person in front of me goes, And I'm like, okay, this is what I'll do. The mission is the time trial mountain bike race with insanity on it. And then when I hear somebody come up behind me, I'll pull over. And because we're stretched out every minute, I won't have a huge group coming up behind me all at once, and I won't be blocking a whole bunch of people at once. So just as I hear people come up, then I'll pull over, right? And then, yeah, they're announcing names of people that are going, and it's nuts. It's absolutely crazy, the level. And there's me, and then so the person in front of me goes, like say it's River, he goes, right? And then so we got a minute. I start walking up to the line. Say that's the line right there, that spot. I walk up, and then I hear over the loudspeaker system, all right, after this guy, next is, I have to look it up, but something like 3-time Olympian Geoff Kabush is going after me, Brett. That's who I'm going to be holding up. And I had to make a decision right then and there. Like, oh my God, I have to go or else I'm not going to race. So I turned to the guy next to me that's the starter, and I said, I'm going to pull over every time I'm in anybody's way. And he's like, all right, cool. And that's what I did. And I went anyway on this race, and I ended up using the fear to make me go faster, and I worked with it and pulled over anytime that I got in somebody's way, and I still got the mission done, and I got a cool story out of it. So that episode will be coming out, I don't know when, I guess pretty soon. It's a great show. They're on year 5. I'm going to work this last uphill over here. Since we stopped and talked, I'm going to make up for it by going all the way to the top of this hill. And before you listen to my episode, you got time to go listen to her episode. Because we talk about her during the show and how useful that is. And look at that bird at the very top of the tree. That's a mockingbird. No, is it? It might be. Anyway, they really do great shows, and the reason I'm on the show is because of the stuff that we do here, and they wanted to find out more, and they're going to end up being on my show. So before you listen to my episode, which will come out eventually, listen to her episode because it's very useful in life. I think it's some of the greatest content on the internet right now. All right, everybody stay safe out there. Work the uphills, cruise the downhills, keep the rubber side down, out.